What did the text message say?
OMG, I think I almost just got kidnapped.
They noticed it was not a mannequin, it was a body, and not just a body, it was a young girl.
I just did not get a good feeling from him.
I think we all knew in our bones that he was guilty.
What question were you hoping he would answer?
I want to know why he did it.
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Dell. Today's crime expose brings us to Armada, Michigan, located about 35 minutes outside of Detroit. The small, quaint town was shocked to its core when a 14-year-old girl was found murdered on a bike trail. Could the victim herself be able to lead police to her killer? The date was July 24th. It was a typical summer day in the small town of Armada. But just as the sun began to set, police received a frantic 911 call from a man who said he and his wife had been walking on a trail and saw a dog trying to get their attention.
This dog then alerted them to something, and it initially appeared to be a mannequin.
But as they went in for a closer look, they were shocked by what they saw.
They noticed that no, it was not a mannequin, it was a body, and not just a body, it was a young girl.
911? I'm fairly certain we just found a body along the mountain bike trail.
Okay, and you don't believe she's breathing?
I don't believe so, no.
Michigan State Police detectives quickly responded to the scene and were horrified by what they found.
She had injuries to her neck and her face that were apparent. Her clothes were partially pulled off, her top pulled up, and her shorts were pulled down.
What did detectives notice after that?
It appeared that there were markings on her face, so I think the first appearance was that she was hit in the face, maybe with something, or in the neck and face area.
The markings formed a herringbone pattern that looked as if it came from a shoe. Investigators concluded the killer had most likely stomped on the young victim's face. Detectives searched the area looking for more clues, but whoever did this hadn't left much behind.
They did not see a murder weapon, no ID on her, her cell phone was missing, and meanwhile, we're hearing there's this poor mother that had just reported her 14-year-old daughter missing.
As detectives were trying to figure out who the young girl could be, they got word that a woman had shown up at the trail looking for her 14-year-old daughter, April. Jennifer Millsap told police that April had taken their dog Penny for a walk and never returned home. Was this something she often did, part of her normal routine?
It was part of her normal routine. It's not too far from our house, so I wasn't worried about anything happening to her.
Jennifer said April left with Penny around 5:30. When she wasn't back by 7, Jennifer started to worry. She texted April with no response.
After 4, 5, 6 texts, I started calling April and it kept going to voicemail.
Figuring that April may have met up with her boyfriend Austin, Jennifer reached out to him.
She called April's boyfriend. Her boyfriend hadn't heard from her, and she talks to her boyfriend every day, multiple times a day.
A few minutes after they hung up, Austin called Jennifer back. He said he had gotten a text from April an hour earlier, which he never saw. What did the text message say?
OMG, I think I almost just got kidnapped.
Panic quickly set in. Austin and Jennifer decided to go to the trail to look for April.
I went one way, Austin went the other way. Once we separated, Austin called me and said, I'm at this point of the trail and there is some police activity going on over here.
Jennifer raced to Austin's location and told officers she was looking for her daughter and their dog.
It was pretty obvious at that point. April was missing. She's a young 14-year-old girl. She was last known to be leaving and walking her dog. This couple had a dog alert them to this body.
The sad truth became clear to everyone. The young victim found on the trail was 14-year-old April Millsap.
She spotted the suspect's face as he was looking directly at her, almost with a surprised look on his face.
Police in Armada, Michigan were now on the hunt for a depraved killer who had murdered 14-year-old April Millsap. April was Jennifer's only child, and the two shared a special bond.
April was a fun-loving princess. She liked her friends, she liked her animals, she enjoyed the outdoors.
Detectives promised Jennifer that they would do everything they could to find April's killer. An autopsy revealed the heartbreaking details of the murder.
The autopsy confirmed that April was killed by blunt force trauma, and she had compression to her neck. She actually been stomped on. As hard as that is to hear for anyone, you could do that to anyone, let alone a child. And despite initial concerns, the autopsy determined she had not been sexually assaulted.
Investigators didn't have much to go on. With no DNA evidence, all they had was that footprint left on April's face. The sheer brutality told detectives that the killer had a lot of rage towards April. The murder seemed personal.
When you look at the type of injuries that April sustained, a lot of us, I remember, were thinking, well, it's got to be someone she knows.
Detectives immediately turned their attention to April's boyfriend, Austin. Had he made up the text about April almost getting kidnapped to divert attention away from him? Were there any issues between April and Austin?
What I had kind of heard was they had a little bit of an argument earlier in the day, a disagreement.
Austin denied having anything to do with April's murder. He showed them the text from April and said he was miles away with friends when he received it. He then went through his entire timeline that evening, which included a stop at a fast food restaurant. And investigators were quickly able to verify everything he said.
The video from the fast food location of him going through the drive-thru, the time frame it was and the timeline for April when we believe it would have happened, it cleared him at that point.
Detectives now knew April had sent Austin a text message, but her phone wasn't found at the crime scene.
Police sent out canine units, they sent out search dogs to try to find her phone.
Even though it was like finding a needle in a haystack, April's phone was miraculously discovered the next day, about a mile away on the side of the trail. It was sent to the FBI for testing. Meanwhile, detectives canvassed the area and found several witnesses who saw April that night. One man remembered her speaking with someone on a blue and white motorcycle.
It looked like the male was angry, and when the male saw them coming down the path, he kind of walked away from her.
Another witness said she also saw a blue and white motorcycle parked on the path, and then she locked eyes with a man who was off to the side of the trail inside the brush.
She spotted the suspect's face as he was looking directly at her, almost with a surprised look on his face.
So how does she describe him?
A little bit thinner face, shorter hair, kind of sunken in like beady eyes, but wide.
As detectives set out to find the mystery man on the motorcycle, the FBI called with important news about what they discovered on April's phone.
As she had a fitness app that had been running in the background of her phone.
It was able to tell us her path of travel. It even had the speed on there that she was moving at.
The app tracked the phone's movements from the time April left her home till it sat abandoned on the side of the trail. What investigators found most interesting was that after the phone left the crime scene, it traveled at 16 miles per hour to its final resting place. The speed was too fast for a human. It had to have gotten there on a motorized vehicle. As detectives walked that route, they passed by a house and caught a big break. The home had a security camera that was facing the trail.
Police were then able to grab an image from this surveillance camera, and the image showed a blue and white motorcycle at the same time that April's phone had been traveling.
It was the same blue and white motorcycle witnesses had described.
I just did not get a good feeling from him.
Detectives investigating the murder of 14-year-old April Millsap were convinced the man on the blue and white motorcycle was April's killer, but they still had no idea who he was or how to find him. And then Trooper Ray Peckman was driving in his patrol car and caught a lucky break when he spotted a bike that looked similar at a home.
What did you do after seeing that bike?
I went back, turned around, kind of thought to myself, wow, could that be the bike? And I pulled in the driveway, grabbed my cell phone, zoomed in on it, took a few photos.
He then went back to the command center to show everyone else what he found. They all agreed it looked like the bike from the surveillance video. He and another detective went back to the home.
We went back to the house and made contact with the homeowner. The bike was not there when we got back. The homeowner explained that that was a buddy who had stopped by to see him.
His friend's name was James VanCallis. Detectives looked him up and saw VanCallis had no criminal record and was an unlikely suspect for such a heinous crime. But he did own a blue and white bike, so investigators went to question him.
When you went to question him, where did he say he was at the time that April was murdered?
He stated that he was in Armada, that he went to his brothers who would live on the other side of Armada from his residence.
The time he said he was there made it impossible for him to have killed April. VanCallis was cooperative and answered every question detectives had.
He's friendly and helpful. He even says, hey, here are the clothes and the shoes I was wearing from the day in question.
Investigators took pictures of the bottom of the shoes.
Did the tread on the shoes match those on April's face?
No, not at all.
Even though there was nothing that tied him to April's murder, there was something about VanCallis that didn't sit right with Ray Peckman.
I'm not 100% sure what it was. I just did not get a good feeling from him. And I remember saying, something's just not right about him.
The next day, police decided to go back to VanCallis' home and ask more questions. This time, he wasn't as friendly.
His whole demeanor has changed. He's not as helpful. He is refusing to speak.
And when police interviewed his brother to verify VanCallis' alibi, the timeline was off.
Major red flag. His own brother isn't corroborating what he's saying.
Although investigators didn't have enough to arrest him for murder, they did have cause to get a search warrant for his home.
What did investigators discover?
He was illegally growing marijuana. We called the Macomb County drug team. They came up there and they arrested him at that time.
With VanCallis behind bars, his girlfriend came forward with shocking information.
He says, the clothes he gave you, those weren't what he was wearing that day. The shoes, those weren't what he was wearing that day.
She said she didn't know what happened to the shoes he was wearing that day, but she described them to police.
They were Air Jordans. And we were eventually able to locate a photo on social media of James standing next to a truck with a pair of Air Jordans on. And when we showed her that photo, she said that's absolutely the shoes she was talking about.
Since investigators couldn't find the shoes during the search warrant, they had to get creative.
Chief Howard of Armada ordered a pair online of the size James would wear. Those shoes were then sent to our lab, and the lab made a clear copy on a transparent paper of that photo of those shoes. They then took a photo of April that would be real size, and they laid that template over her face. And it was eerie how the tread pattern of the shoes lined up perfectly on her face and her neck.
It was the evidence they needed to charge James VanCallis with first-degree murder. In January, James VanCallis went on trial for the murder of April Millsap. After 2 months of testimony, VanCallis was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison.
Count 1, first degree premeditated murder. We find the defendant guilty. Count 2, first degree felony murder, guilty. Count 3, kidnapping. We find the defendant guilty.
For April's family, the verdict was bittersweet.
It was an empty justice because it wasn't bringing her back. She's never coming home.
How do you describe what VanCallis did to your family?
He just ripped our hearts out and stomped on them like he did her. He stole her future. He stole my future.
Jennifer Millsap had hoped she would get answers as to why this happened, but VanCallis hasn't offered her any explanation. And to this day, he still maintains his innocence. Investigators believe he saw April on the trail and hit on her, but when she rejected him, that he became enraged and murdered her. The tragic case of April Millsap represents a parent's worst fear. While we trust our children to navigate certain aspects of life independently, our concerns often stem from the unpredictable and sometimes dangerous world they inhabit. Talk to your children about strangers. Explain what makes somebody a stranger, even if they have a familiar face. Tell them to stay away from people they don't know. Don't get close to them, and don't answer questions if someone is following them. And if someone tries to force them to go somewhere or into a car, they should run and scream. Have them practice using the buddy system with other children, and caution them not to play in deserted places. And if you have to send somebody else to pick up your child, say in the case of an emergency, have your child memorize a secret code word that lets them know it's safe to go with that person. Remind them to never give out personal information online, and to be aware of their online activities and chat room friends. Parents should also avoid posting identifying information or photos of their children online. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is a 24-hour hotline and can be reached at 1-800-THE-LOST. I'm Nancy O'Dell. For all of us here at Crime Exposé, please join us next time and stay safe.